Let's be very clear about what we're discussing today. This isn't a gentle explainer. This is an intervention. We're going to talk about a deeply ingrained and, frankly, dangerous illusion that has taken hold in the spiritual community.
Right out of the gate, here's the central indictment. This is the core of the entire argument. If this sentence makes you uncomfortable, good. It means you're in the right place, so let's get into it.
Okay, first things first. We have to frame this correctly. From this perspective, seeking free readings isn't just a misunderstanding or being thrifty. It's being presented as a specific kind of spiritual crime, a karmic fraud. And the consequences, well, they go way beyond just saving a few bucks. And this brings us to a really crucial concept: energy debt. Now, this isn't some curse a reader puts on you. It's a universal law that you, yourself, trigger. Think of it like walking into a sacred temple, demanding the oracle speak, but offering nothing in return. This is the spiritual invoice that gets created, whether you acknowledge it or not. Now, let's just surgically dismantle the number one excuse right here. The argument is this: if you have a phone, if you have an internet connection, and you have the time to hunt down free readers, the issue isn't a total lack of resources. It's a choice. It's about what you prioritize. And that choice, that prioritization, it really stems from a much deeper delusion. This idea that you are somehow owed divine service, that spiritual insight is just a public utility there for the taking.
And this right here is how that entitlement often gets disguised. It's the weaponization of pain. Look, your pain can be 100% valid, absolutely real, and you can still be using it to manipulate someone into giving you their time and energy for free. The two are not mutually exclusive.
This really gets to the heart of the delusion. The goal isn't actually clarity, because clarity requires action. It requires responsibility. No, what's often wanted is a rescue fantasy, someone to just fix it. For nothing. So let's call it what it is from this point of view. It isn't receiving, it's looting. Which brings us to a spiritual law that some consider to be as immutable as gravity. This is the core mechanic that explains why, in this framework, hopping from one free reading to another is just completely and utterly useless. Here's how it's explained. When there's no exchange, there's no energetic connection. The reading is just noise. It's random energy floating in the ether. But a paid reading, that carries your energy, your intention, your investment. It calibrates the entire experience to you, making the message a targeted, potent truth meant for you and you alone. And that's the final verdict on the result. You didn't have a breakthrough, you weren't healed, you were just briefly entertained. You got a momentary distraction from your problems before the endless cycle of seeking starts all over again.
Okay, so we've established that it's ineffective. Now we have to talk about how it's actively damaging. Because these actions, they don't just happen in a void. There are consequences. The spirit world is indeed watching.
Let me ask you this. Do you really think you fooled the reader? Or did you just fool yourself into believing the universe doesn't notice when you're trying to game the system? And here is the supposed chain reaction. This isn't a punishment, it's a natural consequence. When you try to access sacred channels without honoring the exchange, those very channels start to shut down. Your own intuition gets foggy. Your guides pull back. The answers you do get become murky and confusing. You are, quite literally, creating your own spiritual static. And then there's the practical, real-world fallout. You are not anonymous. The spiritual community is smaller than you think. Readers talk, names get recognized, patterns get noticed. You're not a mystery. You become a case study in what not to do. So now we arrive at the final and maybe the most important piece of this puzzle. The entire argument is that this was never, ever about the money. Not really. Let this one sink in. The payment isn't for the reader's bills. It's for you. It's a declaration. It's a signal you send to yourself and to the entire universe that you are finally ready. Ready to listen, ready to change, ready to value your own healing. To put it another way, payment is the ritual. It's the initiation. It's the physical act that takes a divine, ethereal message and anchors it into your physical, messy, real life. Without that anchor, the argument goes, the message just floats away. Because at the end of the day, real, lasting change doesn't come from collecting free scraps of insight. True transformation requires investment. It demands that you show up fully. So, here is the choice. The first step.
This is the potential result.
And this is the alternative, the endless loop. The cycle continues, and the choice, as always, is yours. You were never anonymous. You were just next.